their input in housing and how Mahama Abino, what they did to improve the housing sector, a dying and a senior Abain ACC dying. Samson Anyenini no Jandam bi wo wonya smart awhu. And that is what they have been doing in the same multimedia. Samson Anyenini num kankan se preko baby or halitosis. Nenum bon tinipa ntam meno. So we study omo interviews every day. Omo ne interview omo ko omo wechi omo man gap because nenum bon. Samson Anyenini ye Jandam. And I keep telling Ghanaians, Mamu manko fo kwasi abrofo bi ndadam. Now listen to Samson Anyenini's interview. The questioning. Then I will
Whenever I say my PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
You were till for a PENDREAM TV in Pacho. When him say the news not all from an the bro. News say Obabeti in Pacho. So what didn't want to Trebia and so what didn't Trefa. News be I present your platform with you for your voice note not for sending it. I was 0277 128 777. You're the 2 PENDREAM FM. So
right, let's go another Jandam. Another Jandam so say na me share. We are monitoring the news and I'm being sad we. Okay, we're done with this guy. A year Abrantie be your friend or a year Alankude Chamanting, Mr. Alankude Chamanting, Abafranto Echo Joy News. Now, maybe both video be a chemo. Muntie video ni pa a interviewer na a Samson Anyenini or interview Alankude Chamanting. Now, Sautie, the way he started his questioning, and it was about housing deficit, any continuation when it comes to governance. Now, Muntie Samson Anyenini, we are Jandam, we are killing it. That is what they do. Or starting the question, or the NDC start here, and the way he tried to rubbish NDC regime, their input in housing, and how Mahama Abino, what they did to improve the housing sector, a dying and a senior Abain ACC dying. Samson Anyenini no Jandam bi wo wonya smart awhu. And that is what they have been doing in the same multimedia. Samson Anyenini num kankan se preko baby or halitosis. Nenum bon tinipa ntam meno. So we study omo interviews every day. Omo ne interview omo ko omo wechi omo man gap because nenum bon. Samson Anyenini ye Jandam. And I keep telling Ghanaians, Mamu manko fo kwasi abrofo bi ndadam. Now listen to Samson Anyenini's interview. The questioning. Then I will show you where the problem is. Now me mau answers to the na opesa oyeno. Let's kill this Jandam. Where Samson Anyenini interviewing Alan Kudechamanting.
Let me get people to appreciate why, for example, you say we need a plan, and many agree with you on that. Yeah. That the last government, as in the NDC regime, decided that we needed affordable housing. And it doesn't look like there was a plan. They just looked for a place and went and began building towards 5,000 houses and spent $197 million US, completing about 1,502 units. The NPP comes into office. We are aware of affordable housing projects that are being done. Whilst that project is getting rotten. Thieves are breaking in, destroying. And the government says we need 32 million cedis to be able to complete that. People say that does not make sense. That is waste of the country's resources. And this is not just the first time. You had Kufuor's affordable housing. The NDC came, abandoned, and began their own STS. We ended up wrong places. All of that. That is what a plan solves. But is it not really about being committed to executing our resources usefully?
You don't hear the question, no? Or say the NDC had no plan. The message you wanted to put out there, the message was in there. NDC came, they didn't have any plan. They went to build Segleme. We were tenure. Baby, you're free. A dime pony ho. And he sees that as a no plan. Or Segleme project ne ohona. or no Samson Anyenini when it comes to then affordable housing. And it's 1,500 houses now John Mahama could see na it was fitted, everything in it, Oh, when they say the NDC regime, they had no plan. These are the penifona more like Ghana. Jimmy Fo when a T radio, street TV, so where to meet the best journalist in Ghana. Now the question here is, when you go into our constitution, what does it say about say Abainba, not say Abanye project, not Abainfo for bar? What is the new government supposed to do? In fact, when you go into the constitution, this is what it says. Yeah, basic. Okay, political objectives. Chapter 6, the directive principles of state policy. Oba ayet 7. As far as practicable, a government shall, yes, it shall, just say a government shall continue and execute projects and programs commenced by the previous government. You see, constitution say ayenhye se aban bi ba na obeto se project bi wo ho a na se obi awia e wo sare den otoa so. Now Samson Anyenini e kan asem no. O say NDC by no many plan and into 1,500 houses na go na and there oko eye Volta region amanfo have been displaced by omankwasea opening of the dam, we cannot move them into those buildings, or send NDC for any plan until they just went to build 1,500 houses into the NDC government. Waste, plan. Question no busano. It was directed towards the NDC because when say Alankoje Tremantin he's coming from the NPP. He wanted Alankoje Tremantin to be a foolish politician and say yes. He wanted Alankoje Tremantin to be a stupid politician like Akufo-Addo or Bawumia and do the petty politics and say yes, NDC wasted money on Segleme. But Alankoje Tremantin ye Jimmy for because what him say, he has been part of Kufuor's government, he has been part of Kufuor 1 and 2, he has been part of Akufo-Addo 1 and 2, and he knows the infrastructure NDC buying, the investment that went into housing about infrastructure. So Alankoje Tremantin in his response, this is the response of Alankoje Tremantin.
First, very respectfully, I'm not here to discuss what different governments have done and evaluate how they did it. I am putting forward a certain framework.
Did you hear Alankoje Tremantin? Also, first of all, I didn't come to do what? Discuss governments and what they did when it comes to the housing or affordable housing or building houses for the Ghanaians. Alankoje Tremantin, Samson Anyenini is doing propaganda for the NPP. Into what he was trying to get out of Alan Tremantin was for Alan Tremantin to throw Mahama under the bus, and then they'll cut that caption and say Alan Tremantin goes after Mahama. But Alan is smart because Alan knows he has also been part of this regimes. And that regimes. He was part of Kufuor 1 and 2. He has been part of Akufo-Addo 1 and 2. So he wanted to stay away from that because Alankoje Tremantin, he knows the job NDC for the investment that has gone into the infrastructure, housing. He knows that the NDC continued in Juma Kufuor started. He's doing propaganda for John Mahama. Makachamo, this platform is a solid platform. Jandam, it comes in so many ways. One is smarter. Halistosis for any acromphone, ajantra phone, tribal bigots, and ajantuamone, or Ketiche free, a crime free for Jandam ni a rapist, That is how they sell the message. Alankoje Tremantin is a smart politician. Now, because on him the investment NDC in the housing, the affordable housing sector, he moved away from there. And also, media margin and I want us all to have a national policy. What is he talking about? National development plan. Alan Tremantin went on to say he wants us all to rally behind one idea, one plan. John Mahama in 2014 introduced the National Development Plan. The idea John Mahama had, 40 years National Development Plan. Now, the reason why Alankoje Tremantin stayed away from that question, because he knows he has been part of the government, successive government that failed to continue projects. Alan Kojo Chemantin knows. He's played a part. He was part of Kufuor. He was part of Akufo-Addo. He knows he's been part of a political party that generally decided to ignore projects they came to meet. Now, I'm sure idea. Some questions from the TV, so no. I'm a politician, so may cast journalists. Some questions from journalists, no. Now, idea. You see this when you go into the Green Book, the NDC Green Book. When you go into the part called housing, because Samson Anyenini said NDC did not have a plan. They did not have a plan to develop this country when it comes to housing. Oh, what kind of try? Because he wants to try and find a way for Bawumia MPP to have some stand. No, we will use the facts to kill the Jandam. In fact, let me take it out. So we read the Green Book now. On page 45, expanding infrastructure, it's all under housing. We NDC Green Book. The American will be say Nimwa Monkas Kevin Green Book. We did not see it. You are doing Jandam. Yene yaji ni form to send an agent to our on an Kokono Mugono. Yeah, Rule 2024 journalism. Now let me show you this. Also, when you go into the Green Book, you will see this. And what it says there, go get your Green Book and read it. You will see what I'm talking about. The investment at John Mahama continuously did Indian housing and how he basically continued J.A. Kufuor projects. But a journalist calling himself a multimedia journalist, when Yini, Kwasi Alobi Okoye, Wamwagri so Niminyansa Chen, Oniminyanso, a politics no ye. And it's in the Kofi Bento, what bought the Rakan Kwaya Semono. Now, when you read from the Green Book, almost say government continues to invest heavily in the area of housing in a bid to bridge the housing deficit. An aggressive affordable housing program has been rolled out to provide more Ghanaian families in the lower to middle income bracket with decent homes. The programs being undertaken in this regard are into Kwasiawa, the NDC actual programs are when it came to housing, the John Mahama Muyeye. And Samson Anyenini say NDC had no plan to build Segleme. Kwasiato. Now, 1.1, it says the affordable housing project at Segleme in the Ningo Pram district of the Greater Accra region. Also, work is progressing in the South African NDC L Power. And this Green Book was before election 2016. Now, John Mahama Kasachiremo said, this is what is happening. Listen, now, Elmane Besisa. Now, when you go down, you see number 2. They call it Nyamidua Estate. The NDC government invested in Nyamidua Estate. Under a public-private partnership arrangement, Meza Seti Realty Limited has been allocated 95 acres of land at Pong for the construction of 5,000 affordable housing units, branded Nyamidua Estate. The first phase of 240 housing units comprising 2 and 3 bedroom houses types in nearing completion. Before NDC free power, no, when you go to Nyamidua Estate, it's supposed to be 5,000 houses. Before they left power, now about 300 were almost done. Now the question here is, have these guys continued? Maybe show idea. When you go to number 3, it says Security Service Housing Scheme Phase 1 and 2. Security Services Housing Scheme Phase 1 and 2. Police, Army, and also John Dramani Mahama, any NDC. Or say, government commitment to provide decent housing for the security services has been given meaning through the completion of 168 housing units with related infrastructure in Tema. This is made up of 136 2-bedroom and 32 3-bedroom flats. Work is progressing fast on the construction of 368 housing units under the second phase of this project at an estimated cost of 101.2 million. Now let's go there and see. Say John Mahama Mufri ono na sa estate ni NC. Nyabutre and pesa me show bibi wa. When you go to number 4, Keta Sea Defense Resettlement Housing Scheme. Keta omana eponitu omono. John Dramani Mahama and the NDC, they basically started resettling those people. And Akufo-Addo, whatever was started, he has not continued. We are talking about Keta. Now, when you read, it says, under this project, 618 units of 338 housing units representing 74%, have been completed at Adzizo or Ajizo. Now, Keji and Vodza to house persons affected by the Keta Sea Defense Project. John Mahama and Abain will say people who are living closer to the sea in the Volta region, they needed to be resettled. They needed to be resettled. About 836 housing units. They started constructing it. And what did they do? They finished the money. You are saying, say, NDC did not have a plan? NDC did not have a plan. Now, let's go to a new Labadi Villas housing project. The Ghana Armed Forces were a military. The Ghana Armed Forces, as part of efforts to provide housing for its personnel, is currently constructing housing units at Labadi Villas in Burma Camp to house officers under John Mahama. And you see someone that Samson Anyenini sits there and say, the NDC did not plan. The NDC was strategic. Security services, people who were displaced by the ocean. He was also taking care of Segleme. John Mahama was being strategic and making sure that every part of the country has been touched. Now, let's move forward. Mama Chawade. Now, when you go to this side, you see what is written down there. Mama King Kan Chow. Kwasiaphobia betina radio TV, so they say anything. Let me show you this. Me you need to me green book, no, but still, now when you go to page 51 in the green book, National Housing Policy, Muntie. Maybe I'm a better picture. So these are all flats John Mahama built, and they're all there. The security agencies are not. They all know. And John Mahama was president for 4 years. Tikwasi ebi tina inshaka John Mahama be yedian am so ya bodam for we kurasini ntina obuta sa question no so na janto atra say Mahama no be yedian am so wenum kankan we kurasini umpempu ntina obuta sa asem no. This was done under 4 years. Mon kwasiafo no mo tribal party na tini menhia no sa party 8 years onchewo ade ba akwa waye when it comes to infrastructure. What was say John Mahama should convince you we are chain. Now, when you go to page 51, the green book, Mr. P, Mr. S, put the green book, the soft copy in all the on all the platform comment section. Put all the links there. Let people download the green book. Put it on YouTube. Put it on Facebook. Let people download and read for themselves. The awesome boy or chinometer already said Kevin Taylor and some kind in any war. But you say Bejama Mudim Jimmy na say Ghana Bium. Yam Pinimobian say Santamayo, Yabeja Santamine. Mayor Infantini a woman Santimemu, Meja Santamine. Menem call for me on platforms. Yabeja Santamai swore. Quasia Mudi didn't quasia. You never tell teams on Tatamoka can quasia. John Mahama should convince you. Now, National Housing Policy. Now, when we and then the first one. A housing policy has been approved. A housing policy has been approved by Cabinet. A housing policy has been approved by Cabinet and launched with an overall goal of providing adequate, safe, secure, decent, and affordable housing that is accessible and sustainable. The housing policy has made specific recommendations in respect of improved access to land with good titles for housing. The policy also emphasizes increased local content and the use of local building materials in construction. Under John Dramani Mahama, something called the housing policy was passed. And the idea was that yebe yusu Ghana nyoma, Ghana workers, Ghana contractors, Ghana the resource to build houses in Ghana. We were not going to, majority of the time, bring people from outside. John Mahama was learning his lessons. And the whole interchange, you know, or catch a Brazilians, or some of Ghana for 90% are supposed to be Ghanaians. Oba, in Nkrumah Circle, Dubai now, or catch a year company, they say, you will need to employ Ghana for, and the latter part of John Mahama 2016, NPP focus share workers national circle, so omunya demonstration tia, John Mahama say in Tiomoka. They were using Ghanaian workers. Oko ayade Kotokraba the same. Oba Kejetia, majority of the people who were working on the Kejetia project, you know, even though it was a foreign company, you know, 60-70% were Ghana for. Jimmy, Namuti radio, someone new answer. This is what the people want to know. Show them. Don't lie. Don't misquote people. Me money pan tiny pa because o tino. We are Santini. We are tribal bigot. Into John Mahama no. Ye antena say. Ye but now woka John Mahama asame be kwahin. Wo woka John Mahama ho asame be kwahin. Kennedy Krampa mem. Now wo draws yes saying. Mo boxers yes saying. Ena John Mahama. Mo John Mahama timonimu a mo betima kasa. Monkwasi afo ye come nyina ku table so say John Mahama timonimu a mumbehu nyansa akasa. You put you break small. Now me yanko enim Ghana Building Code and Review of Building Regulations under John Mahama mechanical. The draft Ghana Building Code, which was put together by the Building and Road Research Institute (BRRI) in 1988, has been reviewed and it's ready to be adopted. Government is reviewing the building regulation LI 1630 of 1996 to reflect the revised building code. Now, legislation on condominium properties, Muntie, in view of the increasing demand for the development of high-rise properties and its implication for shared ownership of common areas, and also the need to optimize limited land space, government is committed to getting the necessary legislation in place. Several consultations with key stakeholders have taken place and recommendations have been made to the Attorney General Department for a draft bill. 4. The establishment of Real Estate Agency Authority. A bill for establishment of the Real Estate Agency Authority has been approved by Cabinet and laid before Parliament. Its objective is to regulate real estate agency practices, commercial transactions in rural estate, including the sale, purchase, rental, and leasing of real estate and related fixed assets, and to provide for connected purposes. So the John Dramani Mahama administration, they were reviewing the laws. They were trying to implement new laws to protect the housing sector. And even high-rise buildings, they made sure say the code or the law, they reviewed it to make sure say, and yes, we see Abronsai keke, but make sure say Abronsai obesi ebefa nipa 1,000, na so obesi estate dying ewo forma ebefa nipa 2,000. It's better to build Abronsai, but they were looking at how in Sasano ebeye where in Sasia legitimate obi mbram besi high-rise buildings bear 10. Now these were the things they were putting in place. They were basically setting the country up for development. They were strategically making sure say all these nitty-gritties it's perfected before we can move into the modern second world country territory. Because when they don't get these things right, they were trying to get the fundamentals right. Now my dear, when you go to 52, let me show you. Me green book netutu. Mon kancha ase dun ketia. Me chraw de wom. So na be otwin bi magina be bin kan say John Mahama. He did not plan the housing and he just through me chraw the idea behind the John Mahama here. Where are you? Come. Oh, okay, it's back here. All right. Me chraw. No, it's not this one. Maybe more time. Oh, it's not this one. It's not this one. Yeah, they are time. Aha, it is this one. Yeah, me book to. Yay. Now, aha, and a point to be what my mention. Me finish Jandam no. Jejuma John Mahama yen or Ghana and kwasi afo mo te so nkomo ye 2% anke na. Me think a man for yesi a man for chenchen hini okuru bia so. Because they don't have anything to speak about. Say about NPP, John Mahama tem. He does not want John Mahama. He from Otanaka say you should not criticize him. We have not sat anywhere else say mo bian criticize John Mahama. They can say me can't run to no so. Nana janto ya true for ono sa nkwasi afodum go no. Mo nka no kure entina mo bre no, tira mafonfon no. Now when you go to page 52. Page 52 in the green book. Me chraw ni nyina se na be akwase bi nkeka se Kevin Taylor be kan e wan kire bibia ye chraw bibia. All right, Mr. And I'm a team Samson Anyenini, he does not understand affordable housing around. When you go to Tema Development Corporation TDC, Muntie Tema Community 1 Site 3 housing project. Tema Community 1 Site 3 housing project. The project involved the construction of 8 block of 8-story flats of 2 and 3 bedroom apartments. The first phase of 4 blocks of flats containing 64 2-bedroom apartment is nearing completion. Preparations are ongoing to start the second phase of the project. Monko says Suwana says Monko na Monko says Suwana says 2016 omu tumi share afro bi no akogina ho edan no mu si media me hu dan bi o foundation bi no mato me sin kwasiafo mu free share FM mu free Kesben mu nko hese ukotema ho na edan na John Mahama ka so o start see and siwa na nsiwo. Now you go to Community 22 housing project. The project involved the construction of 12 block of 56 apartment at Community 22 terrace housing and a CSR project. And at this project, seven block of terrace housing containing 28 apartments at Community 23 are being constructed. This is to resettle squatters who were displaced by the construction of Link Road from Community 24 site to Accra. Temamoto Way. The first 12 apartments are expected to be completed by the end of 2015. Now, when you go in and you start to check, these are the apartments, and there are so many of them. We and Labadi one, Labadi Villas, no any. And this was constructed by the NDC under John Mahama. Samson, I need to catch us say NDC did not have a plan or a Jimmy 4. He's doing Jandam. He is lying to you people because Omia Baumia boys, they are fed by Baumia like pigs. This is there. Go and check under John Mahama. Then he says that they didn't have a plan. This is under John Mahama. Let me show you. Adenta. Sorry, I'm trying to show you the other houses. Where is the other one? This is Adenta Bamicho. This one. John Mahama and the NDC. This housing. Adenta. It is there. You see it. Go there. These are all buildings under housing. These are some of the things John Mahama did. And people will sit and say that John Mahama no be there a poor funu wuti akura sin trawo ntiase untu kwan tu nim de ekọ. And this including Segleme, Brakumase, Bratakrade, they are all over the place. In Kosiafo we buy instead of them to continue these things. They didn't catch our constitution mu de wom e kire se o se aban bia toa so. Mahama mpodo to be complete kofo ebe ya mesidan odu lento no ejai kofo se we see estate mu ko he time kofo just adan ne so na nipa ntumi ntinem. John Mahama had a plan. John Mahama was building Ghana. John Mahama wanted to tell you people say yemfa one day to three say it is a gradual process. Me see. So be catch us say John Mahama time near na obwa John Mahama's time near now the problem we had in John Mahama's time no mamen country na janto we didn't have anything to compare to John Mahama. Anything nobody mu Jimmy to work John Mahama where Jimmy onimi nyansa on chichiri man and there was something to compare John Mahama to. Anamebwa, that is why you are struggling. So because John Mahama was near obwa because there was nothing to compare. We didn't have anything to compare. In today, we say John Mahama bon, John Mahama nimejuma, John Mahama Jimmy, and them will go for about 8 years. Yeah, they compare John Mahama also kwasia John Mahama per se. You be criticizing them. Take your people's records and compare to John Mahama because in 2014, 15, 16, we did not have anything to compare to John Mahama. What he was doing, fiber optic, whatever, hospitals. What were we comparing it to? Nothing. In Tibetan radio, so John Mahama bon, John Mahama a cromfo, John Mahama a corrupt, and this for you for, and let's put the facts side by side. On say, and we have something to compare with. Ekufuor and Baumia the president 8 years. John Mahama ne Tamils the president 8 years. John Mahama was president commander in chief for 4 years. Nyoma yakani nyinano under 4 years. Anna in one breath, must say John Mahama was president for 8 years. In another breath, Mr. John Mahama was the president for 4 years. Into Mwankasa, John Mahama not a president for how many years? Because when you listen to Ekufuor, at a point, also John Mahama was president for 4 years. Me bought DW4 and Ekufuor interview, no. The journalist was specific. I said the president has been in power for 4 years. Because DW4, no one say John Mahama took office from 2012, August. They know. But NPP for Pierre Bontico radio, so I'm saying John Mahama the president 8 years. Yatiase. Mahamudu Baumia in 2015, he told Ghanaians to say John Mahama has been president for 8 years. Mahamudu Bawumia Ekasano say John Mahama, he was vice president and president, so he has been president for 8 years. And say Mahamudu Bawumia is the president for 8 years or so. He was just a vice president.
Story OTCC a platform my friend PENDREAM TV and I OT story no na o feedback we here and story our no any story be our platform so be our tia o pese o my feedback no fafa WhatsApp message or WhatsApp number 0277128777 na yebebo e wo PENDREAM FM Ghana for nyina ate won ka
Debi kama amena PENDREAM TV ase na so far so good say open online portal e wo Ghana nipa share nipa follow nipa comment here to my best of knowledge without any biases PENDREAM TV